Yellowbacks are a form of published books that were from the 1848 era, the Victorian era. And these books were created basically as a way for an upwardly mobile middle class to read. Now you have a couple of things happening during this time. You have the Industrial Revolution happening, you have a growing middle class, and you have a school system. So now people have time and the ability to read, and they're going to want to have something to read and something that's also as mobile. Imagine beach reads, but train ride reads, right? Prior to 1848, books were intricate. I mean, books have always been an intricate production, right? We're talking about Hollywood blockbuster productions. You have these books that were probably about this big. For instance, Pride and Prejudice, right? Jane Austen's beautiful masterpiece for some. This masterpiece was in 3 volumes, right? So imagine hoisting those around on a train ride if you're trying to have a leisurely read. Publishers got the idea of, why don't we create cheaper, more portable books, and we'll just wrap them in yellow paper. That's why they got the name Yellowbacks. Yellowbacks is not a subject matter style, but a style of publication. They're cheaper to produce, they're more mobile, they can be sold in train depots. So as people are going to commute, they can then go to the train depot and pick up a cheap book, as opposed to having what is essentially a small fortune of a Jane Austen book that's in 3 volumes. When something is mass produced, it's not seen as elegant as a book that was produced by hand or in limited edition, right? There's a finite experience with that. But with a mass-produced item, what happens is, if you lose it, if it's damaged, you can just get another one. And so the value kind of is seen as lower than it should be. But what it also does is it helps someone who maybe couldn't afford to get a bigger book actually get a chance to read. Books are a symbol of status. That was a rich person's game, right? Like, you like, I have a book, I'm cultured. Well, then the middle class could say, well, I also have a book and I can read, right? Reading is power, it's fundamental. And so you have this middle class that before, maybe they didn't have a chance to dream. And what that does with mass production is it gives people the ability to dream, to see things in different ways. And so I think what it does is then spurs other people to have imagination. Because beforehand, you're born in a certain part of the world, in a certain town. Sorry, I'm thinking about Belle from Disney's, little town in a quiet village. And you have a book, and this book is like, there's drama, there's adventure. It puts you in a different perspective. Now, not everyone is going to pursue that adventure by going off and leading troops or joining like the Foreign Legion that comes later, but maybe they are more adventurous in their thoughts or their thinking. Accessibility means different things for different people. Accessibility is how much you can afford to get a book. Accessibility is, can you read the book? Have you been taught to read the book? Is it only in English? Is it in another language? Is it Braille? Is the print not too tiny? Is it big enough that you can see it? And then once you get that experience, how do you then have that moment? Like, how do you know what will be mass produced, right? Like, who decides what is the thing that is popular versus what is the thing that is narrowed down? And so then if you're seeing people who are of a certain class and you want to have book A mass produced, and then that book is ridiculed, is it ridiculed for a reason? Does that then mean that book B will be produced? And then that book, which maybe not as fun, maybe that gets, it's that idea of who decides what's a popular book. And then why is it when something is popularized that it's then condemned? I think of this as people's mentality towards social media, right? With social media, it's always like, well, I'll never do that. Or TV, right? With TV has a lot of different programs. These are different mediums, but it's kind of like that same thing of like, well, you know, you're looking at reality show, then that's very lowbrow. Like, how can you have that mentality? Like, you know, you have a master's degree. You should be looking at this masterpiece theater, which I love, by the way. But, you know, sometimes you need to look at the real housewives of whatever country, county, or state that they're in, you know. Shout out to the ones in Atlanta, I guess. But it's like this mentality of, if it's liked by so many people, then I must not like it. And unfortunately, that, I think, narrows people's experiences. If they're reading things, then it is important because they are enjoying it, right? And that's what reading is about, is enjoyment.